All right. Today is Monday, the 8th of May, and welcome to another economic discussion. And folks, I got a good one for you tonight. Let me ask you this. I happen to have a sweet tooth. Do you? Because if the answer is yes, I got some bad news for you. You're gonna pay more. No, I'm not talking about the bill you're gonna pay at the dentist office for yet another filling. No. I'm talking about paying for actual sugar. You're gonna pay more. Anything that has sugar in it, you're gonna pay more. Because the chart you're looking at right now, no, this is not a chart of a meme stock or a technology stock or an AI stock. This is the chart of sugar prices. They've been surging higher, and they're not the only one. Food prices, all in all, are surging significantly higher. Yet all I hear from the so-called economists and the talking heads in the media, and of course the gaslighting by the propagandists on behalf of the regime, all what they say is, oh, but inflation is dead, inflation is going down, inflation is cooling. In the meantime, sugar prices are exploding higher. And in case you don't know, sugar is the oil of food. When we talk about oil, we're talking about crude oil here. When prices of crude oil go higher, it impacts everything in the economy. Everything that needs transportation, prices have to go higher. And the same goes for sugar. It goes into many food items. And I know in the comments, some keto maniac will come at us now and say, oh, but Maverick, what are you complaining about sugar inflation? That's unhealthy. You're going to kill yourself. You don't need to worry about sugar inflation if you eat keto. Maybe keto is gonna crash soon, and I tell you why. With all of this Ozempic mania, people are losing weight rapidly. They're shooting this Ozempic up their booties, and boom, the weight is gone. And if that is the case, if we can lose weight easily, then what is the harm in eating a dozen donuts every day? And maybe this is contributing to the demand on sugar. If I shoot my booty with Ozempic, I can eat a dozen donuts, no weight gain. Stay slim, baby. And who needs keto now? Look at what Ozempic did to Jenny Craig. She filed for bankruptcy today. So word to the wise, keto maniac. And by the way, it's not just happening in sugar. Look at this. Eggs up 36% year on year. Flour, 17.5%. Chicken, 7.4%. Bread, 15.2% coffee. 10.3% cereal. 13.6% dairy. About 11% year on year. But hey, inflation is dead, they say. What are you complaining about? Well, apparently inflation is not dead. And it's a major problem now because the Fed will have to raise rates to combat inflation. At the same time, as they raise rates, more banks are going to blow up in this great economy that we're living in right now. U.S. consumer inflation expectations are mixed in the month of April, according to the New York Fed. What are they talking about? The regional Fed bank, wait a minute, how come this one is not blowing up? Anyways, reported as a part of its April survey of consumer expectations that respondents see inflation 1 year from now at 4.4%, down from 4.7%. Okay, inflation is dead, right? Inflation 3 years from now was seen at 2.9% compared to 2.8% in March, while 5 years from now, it was expected to be at 2.6% versus 2.5% in the prior month. So inflation expectations are moving higher in the long run. Now, you might say, hey, Maverick, what's causing sugar prices to go higher? Is it really Ozempic? That doesn't make sense. I would say this is the street's explanation, but there is more scientific one. So let's talk about it, and here it is. In focus tonight. Mamma mia! What's going on with food prices? I thought inflation was over. Apparently not, because the headline reads, sugar prices spiked to 11-year high and could rise further due to extreme weather. The rising price of confectionery and sugar-based beverages will incorporate rising sugar values, said John Stanfield, a senior sugar analyst at commodity data platform DNext. I'd love to have that job. I'm a senior sugar analyst. Would you like to have my phone number? Anyways, what he's saying here is, if you buy soda, you're going to pay more because sugar goes into soda. Prices of processed food stuff are rising globally. In a bar of chocolate, you have milk, cocoa powder, etc. And these costs are also rising. Energy and labor costs to make such goods are also rising. So what's going on here? In recent weeks, the Asian cane crushing season has started to wind down, and we have seen large downward crop revisions in the key producing countries, most notably India, Thailand, China, and Pakistan. Mr. Sugar Analyst says, India is the world's second largest sugar producer after Brazil. In early April, the All India Sugar Trade Association trimmed its sugar production estimates by nearly 3% for the crop year spanning October 22 to September 23. The association cited unseasonal rainfall in Mahabharata, which accounts for more than one-third of the country's sugar output. Stansfields added that the lower production was compounded by poor European beet crop resulting from reduced acreage and a severe summer drought, as well as demand continuing to recover from the Thing period. About 80% of global sugar production comes from sugarcane, according to the International Sugar Organization, while 20% derived from beets. Depending on the Asian monsoon rainfall, the sugar market could potentially become very volatile. That's another word for hold on to your diapers. Weather-driven in the medium term, he added. Rain in number one producer Brazil is also slowing at the start of the harvest in April. The sugarcane harvest in Brazil's south-central region, which accounts for 90% of the country's production, runs from April to December, and its yields would be a key gauge to monitor. This is according to Fitch solution analyst Matthew Biggin. But sugar prices are so high right now that even if prices cool down substantially when the Brazilian harvest hits the market, listen to this, prices could still be considered elevated above historical levels. Here it is. The production in Brazil is down from 2021. The same goes for India. It's below 22. The EU is shy. China is shy. Thailand is pushing, but Thailand is small. So we got a shortage here. And of course, the demand is insane due to the stimulation by central banks all over the world. And here's another reason. Another factor pushing prices higher is OPEC's recent surprise decision to slash oil output by about 1.16 million barrels per day. That has encouraged the diversion of sugarcane toward ethanol production and away from sugar supplies. The OPEC decision and the upturn in oil prices will likely keep prices elevated, according to Biggin. So higher oil prices means more sugar goes into ethanol production in lieu of oil, and that means less supply for food, which means higher prices. And you can play this, of course. You got the ticker CANE, C-A-N-E. If you're not trading futures, you can trade the ticker C-A-N-E. It is blasting higher for now, but you know what goes around comes around. What goes up must come down. It's a zero-sum game, baby. Money made in the upside, money made in the downside. So if you feel like you missed this, there's another trade when these prices come down. The answer is when. And the response to that is, it could be a long, long time. You know why? Because it's not just sugar prices. How about olive oil? The headline reads, Spain's drought has pushed olive oil prices to a 26-year high, and they're expected to stick. Aldi's olive oil spread used to be 99, almost £1. It is now 1.29 pound. Plus, lots of the basic ranges have disappeared. Even Aldi is expensive now, said another Twitter user based in England. According to data from the International Monetary Fund, global olive oil prices have hit $5,989.8 per metric ton, making a 26-year high. Wow. And the high prices could stay for some time to come, said Mentix oilseed and vegetable oils analyst Kyle Holland. I guess he'd be a roommate with the sugar analyst. Hey, we got vegetable oil analyst, we got sugar analyst. I'd love to have that job. Hey Maverick, what do you know about this stock? I don't know anything about stocks. I only do sugar. Would you like to see something sweet? Exceedingly poor weather conditions, the headline says. Bad weather in Spain, in particular, the prolonged dry spell, is the main reason behind soaring prices. The issues contributing to prices trending at near all-time high are largely poor weather and a severely dry growing period for much of the Mediterranean, but most importantly in Spain, which is a major producer and exporter of olive oil. As a result of the exceedingly poor quote-unquote weather conditions, he said, the recent October to February olive oil harvest produced a yield 50% less than the usual output, tightening global supplies and pushing prices upward. The exceedingly poor weather conditions meant that Spain produced an olive oil crop of around 630,000 metric tons, and that is down from the usual 1.4 to 1.5 million metric tons harvest, he said. Now, you got to keep in mind that the demand for olive oil is increasing because a substitute sunflower oil is no longer available, and the reason is the number one producer is Ukraine. In case you haven't heard, we have a war happening in Ukraine, right exactly in the region where sunflower oil is produced. So now consumers have to look for alternatives, and they're stampeding to buy canola, olive olive oil, all of these prices are significantly higher now. And of course, the biggest tragedy is palm oil because they have to chop the forest in Indonesia to plant the palm oil, and they destroy the habitat for animals like the orangutan. But lucky for us, the orangutans found a new home in the stock market. Anyhow, the president of the Australian Olive Oil Association says the outbreak of war in Ukraine, which created a global shortage in sunflower oil, pushed up the demand for olive oil even more. And ladies and gentlemen, now we're talking about olive oil becoming a luxury. Look at countries like Lebanon, for example, where olive oil is indeed a luxury. You have to be rich, you have to be loaded to consume olive oil. Imad Warizbi, a 43-year-old resident of Tripoli in northern Lebanon, who produces and trades olive oil for a living. He sells his oil for a wholesale price of $5 per liter. Are you sure that's real olive oil, or is it something else? Both have the same color. Anyways, which is a fairly reasonable price for the product, he said. In the shops, however, a liter nowadays costs around $10 or even more, he told DW. People buy olive oil from me so they can profit from it or save some more money, or because people are looking for cheap olive oil today. Lebanon has a rich history of both producing and consumer olive oil. He's another producer who's running short. Not only it is a crucial component of many traditional Lebanese dishes such as tabbouleh, fattoush, and anyways, I'm pretty sure they're all delicious, but the olive tree itself is deeply ingrained in Lebanese culture. Furthermore, as a country that relies heavily on imports, olive oil is one of the few commodities that Lebanon can export. The ongoing economic crisis in Lebanon, including currency woes, that saw the US dollar becoming the preferred legal tender, has pushed millions into poverty. Are you listening or not? If you say that inflation is over, it has significantly impacted the purchasing power, particularly for those who continue to earn in local currency instead of the dollar. Warisby said that despite selling olive oil to dozens of clients, he only earns around $500 a month. With the cost of living in Lebanon worsening day by day, he sometimes struggles to afford olive oil for himself and is forced to use cheaper cooking oil instead. Wow. What I earn is not enough as I have to pay bills, rent, food, and other expenses, he said. And if you thought that was bad, guess what's going on in Italy? We have an insane inflation in pasta prices. Yep, in Italy. And now Italy calls crisis meeting over spiking price of pasta. Mamma mia, they say. And I love how the Italians can tolerate gas prices going higher, aluminum prices inflation, copper, iron, steel. But when it comes to pasta, no, we have to call an emergency meeting for this. That's the red line. Pasta prices go higher, people are going to go down the streets with pitchforks. Set to occur on May 11, reports Reuters. The talks will be headed by a government-appointed watchdog on inflation. The cost of pasta in Italy has skyrocketed 17.5% in the past year, even though the cost of wheat has gone down. Well, somebody's lying here. Overall inflation in the country currently stands at 8.8%. Pasta's not just expensive in Italy. Prices in the US have spiked since last October as well. A report from the St. Louis Fed tracking the average price of spaghetti macaroni. It shows a jump from $1.06 per pound in October to $1.46 in March, after peaking slightly higher than that in the month of February. Here's the chart from the St. Louis Fed. All-time highs for spaghetti macaroni. That is the highest price on record, with figures from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics reaching back to 1984. There is a difference between U.S. and Italian pasta, though. The 1967 Italian decree called the Purity Law, quote-unquote, requires that all dried pasta sold in Italy be made from durum wheat, which is a hard-grained, coarse strain. That varietal is considerably more difficult to use than traditional bread wheat. But listen to this. It makes pasta that holds its form during cooking without becoming soft or bland. That's the real Italian shit here, not the fugazi stuff you and I are eating right now. And of course, the problem is less than 10% of the world's total wheat production is durum wheat. It doesn't stop here, folks. We talked about sugar going higher. We talked about olive oil going higher. We talked about pasta going higher. But it doesn't stop there, folks. Even pizza prices are surging higher. Forget about it, they say.
Forget about it.
From the New York Post. What are they talking about? They're talking about the dollar slice. Some of New York City's best pizza is a benchmark $5. That is an inflation rate of about 400%, right? And why is this happening? Here it is. A well-known pizza shop in New York is scrapping its $1 slice as inflation pushes pushes up the price of cheese. Bloomberg says mapping the death of the New York City's cheap slice. When Liam Quigley, I don't know who the hell that is, was in middle school in Manhattan in the early 2000s, he could grab a slice of pizza and a soda for $3.50 a piece. 4 tops. I had a $20 a week allowance, he recalled, so I would go to the pizza place instead of Wendy's, for example, because at Wendy's you could walk the door, spending $5 for lunch, but the pizza place had a more competitive deal. He actually bought 2 slices. One you eat in front of your friends, the other you hide in your backpack, and you eat it later so nobody can fat shame you. And here it is, New York City's pizza prices surging significantly higher. And it's not just in New York City. The headline from Reuters says, Mamma Mia, pizza got 16% more expensive in the EU last year. We can track that using the Bloomberg Pizza Margherita Index. Take a look.
According to Bloomberg's Pizza Margherita Index, yes, that's a thing, prices shot up 30% over the past year, with the cost of flour, tomato, mozzarella, and olive oil all surging. But worst of all is the rising cost of power, essential for baking the classic dish to the perfect crispiness.
Okay, so we can't eat sugar, we can't eat macaroni, pasta, we can't eat olive oil, we can't eat pizza. What about meat? Can we eat steak at least? The answer is absolutely not. You know why? Because those prices are surging significantly higher. Today we got a disastrous earnings report from the company Tyson, the largest meat packer in the country. The stock crashed by more than 16% in a single day. How the hell did that happen? Well, you see, the prices of meat and poultry shot up significantly higher. That is an increase in the input cost of Tyson. They have to buy the meat, they have to buy the poultry. And then they expect to raise prices and pass all of this extra cost that they had to incur all the way back to us, the consumers. But apparently us consumers are saying, you know what, I'm so broke right now. If Tyson raises the price of meat on me, I'm going to stop eating meat. I'm going to, eat Skittles or Chi-Chi beans. And all of a sudden the company Tyson, their margins are crashing. They're paying more, but they cannot pass the cost because meat is becoming a luxury in this country. And the summary of all of this video, folks, if you're listening to the program tonight and you happen to own an Italian restaurant, you're shit out of luck, my friend. All of your costs are going higher. Can you pass it down to us or not? If you can't, you're gonna go bust. So watch for Italian restaurants blowing up all over the country like banks. But folks, rest assured, if you say, so Maverick, what am I going to do now? I'm starving over here. I cannot afford to eat meat. I cannot afford to pay for sugar. I cannot afford to buy pasta and macaroni. I cannot afford to buy olive oil. And I cannot afford to eat pizza. What should I do? Well, apparently, there is a common saying these days that goes, let them eat AI. And with that, folks, we have reached the conclusion of this video. If you happen to be a member of this channel, we produced market analysis. We covered the charts, we covered the updates, the recent data we got from the Fed, the sluice, the Buffett meeting, everything. So if you happen to be a member, check it out. If you're not, consider joining. With that, folks, this is all I got for you for tonight. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And I will talk to you again tomorrow. Good night.
Well, at least there are no bones in it.